Hello, Kathy.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
I
How about you?
Oh, it has been a very busy day, but
Hmm.
we're dealing with some circumstances, life circumstances, but everything is going, so we don't stop.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So, all right. So I am excited because we are going to share about universal law number nine, the law of projection, and we have a universal law number 10, which is the law of intention. And so that's a very interesting laws, and I am very curious to develop those ones. So let's jump into what the law of projection is.
Well, the law of projection means that all that we perceive inside ourselves is projected out onto someone else as a mirror. We project our fears onto everyone around us.
Uh, okay, so let me ask you a question. Just I know we are going to get deeper, but for people to understand this law, let's say that I blame someone to be a liar. Yeah, you're a liar. And I blame someone, like I accuse of somebody of being a liar, not being loyal, etc. Will that mean that we are projecting ourselves into that person? So maybe
Maybe.
I am stating that he's a liar because I lie. I am stating you are unloyal because I am not loyal.
Yeah, it depends. If it's a one time situation where you run into a liar, that's not projection. But if it seems that every single person that you do business with lies to you, or for women, if they had a bad experience in a marriage or with a
Do business
relationship.
with lies to you, or for women. Oh, there's an echo. Sorry, let me. All right, let me. Okay, all right, got it. So you say that this is not always the case,
Mhm.
right? Meaning that if I blame someone to be a liar, it's because they are.
Yep. But
Um,
if it happens every single time you do business with somebody, then you are projecting outward. If you yourself are dishonest, then everybody, you automatically assume everybody else is dishonest and you project that out. And it actually, with the law of attraction, you will end up attracting dishonest people.
oh, see, this is when you start mixing the laws.
Yes.
Um, so somebody, um, actually a friend of mine asked me this question. Who created the laws? I mean, these laws that you are uh, teaching, um, who created those laws? It was like somebody, um, there was a channelized, or what was the deal with this? Who mandates these laws?
I will call it prime creator. Some people call it God, but I call him prime creator. And prime
But
creator is the one who creates different universes. And with each of these different universes, there are universal laws that are set up. Actually, the laws were initially created to serve us in a positive manner. But if we, when you come to planet Earth, it's the most beautiful planet in the universe, but it is the planet of duality. Other planets, you may not have this, but on Earth, it's duality, good, bad. So the universal laws can work for you or against you. And that's one of the things that God told me when I had my conversation with him. And he said, I have created the universe to give you every desire of your heart if you get clear on what you want, but you need to understand it can work either for you or against you. So that's what we have been learning. The way we word things is very, very important to trigger the universe to give us what we want. Part of the law of projection is to teach us that we are projecting out. You take me. I was a drama queen. I'm still a drama queen, but nothing like I used to be. And I was unbelievable. This woman came to work for me who drove me crazy. You talk about drama queens. This woman was the biggest drama queen. Every single day, it was a crisis, major crisis, every single day, over and over and over again. It was driving me nuts. And when I finally went to God and said, "Dear Lord, I don't know what to do about this woman." And God kind of chuckled and he said, "Really? Who does she remind you of?" Oh my gosh. And
Okay.
when it hit me that she was a reflection of me, I was projecting out. When I understood that, I could say to her, "Thank you. I appreciate you pointing this out to me. Now that I'm aware of it, I'm definitely going to do some changing." Do you know that she left my company within the month? I didn't need her anymore.
Got it. But and just to be clear, as far as the laws, right?
Yeah.
This specific question is this: how you get these laws, and how these laws differentiate from the laws of religion, like the Ten Commandments, like the Quran. Um, so what, who gives the authority to say, "Hey, those are the laws"? I mean, who was this channelized, like the Holy Spirit came into a human being and says, "Hey, disclose these laws, which are the universal laws"? So I think the question is very directive: is who, under which authority, why we can trust that these laws are really the universal laws?
Well, if you were Buddhist, you would say that Buddha told you about them. If you're a Christian, you would say that Jesus told you about them. And if you go through the Bible, you will find lots of references that Jesus makes to these universal laws that we have been going through. If you're Jewish, you may think that it's in your Torah. So it really depends, but everything comes from God.
Yeah, but
All,
but I think the question is, I just want to, sorry to get deeper on this, because I was asked and I wanted to give a response to this person. He said, well, all of these laws, the law of attraction, the law of projection, the law, the laws that we have been working out during these Thursdays. The question is who, when those laws were uh, shared with humanity, who was the first person to receive the information of these laws?
well, I can tell you from my own studying and reading that it's not just planet Earth. It's all the other planets in the universe. And there is more than one universe. There are numerous universes. Each of those have their own set of planets. So these laws, if you have ever read any of Dolores Cannon's books, she actually wrote a book on people she past life regressed and they all went to different planets. And they described, while they were under hypnosis, many of the universal laws that we are subject to here on planet Earth. So it's not just here on planet Earth, it is in every planet in the entire universe. And they are laws to live in harmony. The laws were designed to help us live in harmony.
Okay. Um, so who was the first person that received these laws? I mean, who received it so that then was shared with you and others?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. So that's the answer. That's
I
the
mean,
answer.
the beginning was God.
Yeah, I know
And
he. Yeah, I know he basically. I think the question was very. I was asked was very directive. Who, which was the first human being that received these laws, and distributed these laws as a way of teaching. Well, here we are just relaying universal laws that was received by somebody else, but we don't know who specifically, but we know that those are the universal laws. That's the first. So we will have to come back to this person and say, well, we will find the story behind who was the first human being that decided to share these universal laws with everybody. But we are just elaborating these laws because it makes sense and transcend religion. It is transcend and it's cross religion. It's not dogmatic. Actually, it's very practical to follow these laws. Is that the right way to answer that question?
Sure. Yeah, because we don't really know, because in the beginning was God, and then God created, and he created the hierarchy. You have the archangels, and then you come through 12 different levels. We're in 3D right now. We're in the third dimension. We're moving into the fifth dimension. And there are other levels going all the way up to 12 dimensions. So
Yeah,
I wonder if they also abide by these very logical universal laws in the 12th dimension.
yeah. So we are getting deeper into another
Yeah.
conversation that overpass us on this one. All right, I got it. All right, so let's come back to the goal of this meeting, the law of projection. So so whatever we project is whatever sort of we are.
It's a mirror. It's projected out onto someone else as a mirror. Now, if we fear that people are basically cheaters, we project this thought out and experience numerous situations that attract cheaters. If a woman has low self-esteem and doesn't have faith that her husband will be faithful to her, she's going to project our fears out on her husband and accuse him of being unfaithful.
A practical example. Let's say that um, all the people that I date for some reason didn't work out, and even finish by being abusive or liars. Uh, so you say, if I project my fears, if I project um, insecurities, I am bringing those people in my life. And then you say that because of the law of attraction, it's like it's a mix of the law of,
Yeah.
is is the law of attraction with this law, right? So it's how you interpret that, because that is very common actually.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts attract. What you think, you attract. If you have had a bad experience in a relationship, or let's say that your father beat you, or maybe your mother was not around, that you carry that baggage, what we call core issues, into your adult life. And you will project out those situations unless you go back and forgive. Everything is always about forgiving and release. You will continue to project. And the way you know you haven't forgiven and released is you keep on projecting. So, what you have to do is try to get to the core issue and find out, why do I keep attracting the same kind of woman over and over again? It has something to do in your mind with what has happened to you in the past, an experience that you have witnessed. And if you can get to that core issue, you can face that issue and forgive the people who were involved. Forgive and release, bless and release. That's very, very important. Bless and release.
Okay, that's so good, because sometimes when we learn these laws, right,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you have the law of attraction, then you have the law of projection, and
Uh-huh.
it looks like they are similar,
Yeah, very similar.
but
Hmm.
they have a slightly difference. It's like
Hmm.
the law of projection is me projecting my own baggage to others, and then it goes to the second with another law, which is the law of attraction,
Hmm.
and it attracts my baggage with their baggage, and that's where we intersect.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's not going to work because I am just relaying the baggage, the unresolved issues with somebody that has also their unresolved issues, and that's where we meet.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then that relationship most likely will fail. And
Absolutely.
what you're saying is, if you want a very beautiful relationship, start looking outside, looking the inside, and try to
Yes.
fix whatever is already, whatever is unresolved.
Yeah. My Facebook page for the last week, that's, you need to go back one. We skipped a slide. But my Facebook page has been talking about loving relationships for the past week. And it always comes back to core issues that are sabotaging your relationships. And if you can get to those core issues and forgive, 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 bless, release, forgive, bless, release, forgive, then you can start from that point moving forward. And what you will project out, like this, if a person is loving and caring, they will project outward comments on how loving and caring people are. A kind person thinks everyone's kind, and they project that image out and will attract kindness back.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Now, here is the positive law of projection. This is a friend of mine. She was having problems with the house that she was renting. The air conditioning was acting up, and there were some plumbing issues that were interfering with her washing machine. Next slide. When she mentioned it to her son, he he went bananas. He immediately jumped to the conclusion that the landlord would try to weasel out of fixing the problem and suggested that she have an attorney prepare a certified letter to him outlining the problems and giving a deadline for fixing them. She was sharing this with me. We were having a good laugh over it, after which she would take legal action. He was projecting his own feelings out that people are not honorable in this situation because he had a bad experience in two different jobs. The problem was the first job where they treated him badly, he was taken advantage of. And because of that anger, he ended up attracting the same kind of job the second time. So he ended up in yet another job where they took advantage of him. So he should have, if you can nip it in the bud, when somebody does you wrong the first time, if you can forgive, release, bless, release, then you won't be projecting all of this garbage out. So, well, she just shook her head at her son's negative approach, saying, "My landlord is a kind and honest man, so is she. That's why she attracted that particular house to rent. I know that he will be more than willing to take care of these problems quickly." Despite her son's protest that she should not call him, but get her concerns in writing, she's picked up the phone and called him and outlined the problems. And she told him, "I know what a kind and honorable man you are, and I know you will take care of these problems quickly." Sure enough, the problems were fixed within the week. Now, how about the negative law of projection? I had a woman who lived in my downstairs apartment for 12 years, who constantly, for all the many years I knew her, she stated in no uncertain terms, "I will never forgive my mother. Never, never, never." Well, after hearing Faith say these words repeatedly, I finally asked her just what her mother had done to her that was so unforgivable. She said, "She abandoned me and my brother and took off and left us. I had a miserable childhood and it's all her fault. It's affected every bad thing that's happened to me since then." Oh, really? Well, I quietly reminded her that she did the same thing to her son and daughter. She became an alcoholic and abandoned her kids to her grandmother. She was projecting her own guilt that she was unable to deal with out on her mother, blaming her mother for the very thing that she had done to her own kids. Her guilt over her actions and her belief that she was a bad person, but her mother was worse, meant that with every job she got, all I heard for years complained about how badly her bosses treated her. And she never realized that she was projecting that guilt out and drawing to her the punishment she felt she deserved. Until she was able to first forgive herself, then she could forgive her mother. And after so many bad jobs and everything in her life, she reluctantly decided to give it a try. And with her forgiveness, I even felt it. It's like her whole face was light. There was a shift in her energy, and her next job was with people who treated her with respect, because she could now accept that she deserved that fair treatment. So now we come to universal law number 10, the law of intention. And as this slide says, intention is powerful. Intention is the main crux of how the universe operates. Now, the law of intention means that if you take a stand to achieve something, that powerful energy is conveyed to the universe, which will bring that achievement to fruition. Be careful in stating what you want. Simply stating what you want, that you want something, denotes your belief that you don't have it and that it is lacking.
So let's stop there. So with intention. So you just say simply stating that you want something denotes you believe that you don't have it, that is lacking.
Yep. If you look up the definition of want, that's actually what it says.
Okay. What's the difference between the definition of I want something versus I need something? I need.
If you want something to happen good in your life, instead of saying I need something or I want something, you say something like, I desire a better job. I desire a healthy body, or I desire a loving relationship. But when you say I want something, it denotes that you're never going to get it. So you have to watch the way you repeat things. Don't use the word want, or don't use the word need. Use words like desire.
That's very powerful, because somebody told me that words has a lot of powers. And so a word basically is the energy that you put in the word.
Yeah.
Right. And so now I understand why it's so important. Like I hear many times the word I try. And I kept like telling my son, don't say I try, just do it. If you fail while doing it, then you do it another time. You do it again. Because try is like, it's so abstract. What is try?
You know, Raul, I teach mortgage finance courses. And every month we have a pre-licensing course, which is a very, very difficult exam that they're studying for. It's a cram course. And I hear people in the class all the time saying, I hear this is a really hard test. I'm not good at taking tests. I hope I can pass this test. And I make all of those students repeat after me, all the information I need to pass this test is in this class. And I pass this test easily and effortlessly. And they all laugh at me, and I make them do it every single day they come into class. But it gives them certain power that they do not understand. when you get into universal laws and spiritual growth, you understand your thoughts and the words you speak are very powerful, because Raul, you are a very powerful being. If people understood how much power they had and how much control they really have over their life, they would be shocked. So little by little, we learn simple things like, don't say want, Kathy, say I desire. My desire is to have a loving relationship. My desire is to go into a med bed. Or my desire is for my business to grow. Makes a difference, doesn't it?
It
But
does.
you know, the universe is incredibly abundant and is ready to back up your intention and support your action. So learn to remove the word want from your vocabulary and replace it with intend.
I like that. I think we need to stop there. Like, learn to remove the word want from your vocabulary and replace it with intent.
Yes,
That word intent is so powerful.
I have talked to so many people who say, I want to become a singer. What are you going to do about it? Well, what do you mean? What do you intend to do about it? If you are really serious about becoming a singer, then you need to take the steps to make it happen. So tell me what your intentions are. And people start recognizing the difference. And I'm going to tell you something. When I talk to people who use the word want, and I steer them into using the word I intend to get it, there is a shift in their energy that I can feel, and I can see it on their face. And a lot of these people go on to achieve their goals if they don't let anybody stop them. Now, don't say, I want a better job, which means that you believe in lack and limitation. Instead, say, I know there is a better job for me and I intend to find it, which means that you believe a better job is out there. See the difference?
Yeah. The intent is more powerful because it denotes the action of doing it. I
Yes.
intend. I want is more ego. It's like I want better job, but it's no intention. It's not.
They're not saying, I'm going to get a better job. They just say, I want it. Well, just keep wanting it then. What are you going to do about it? What do you mean? I love the book by Wayne Dyer called The Power of Intention. If the book is probably 10 years old, but it's still one of the best books I have ever read. I encourage everybody to read that book. Let's talk about the positive law of intention. This is about me. I run a mortgage training institute. And for years, I talked about writing a particular mortgage manual that would be very beneficial to people working in the mortgage industry. And I made excuses like you wouldn't believe. I always lamented the fact that my teaching schedule was just too heavy for me to take time out to write that manual. Well, then I read Wayne Dyer's book. So go on to the next slide now. It finally hit me that I should either write that book or shut up about it. I decided to get up early each morning, and I got to my office at 7:30 in the morning. Now that gave me an hour and a half each morning to work on the manual before going in to teach a class. And within 30 days, I had written and printed that entire manual. And you know what? 30 years later, I'm still earning money off the sale of that manual. When I took a stand to do whatever it took to achieve my goal, it was accomplished in no time. And that residual income is still coming in. Now let's talk about the negative law of intention. The negative law of intention could also be described as your ego saying, I'll show them. For example, years ago, I was promoted from administrative assistant to manager of one of the departments at my company. The woman who would become my administrative assistant was furious over my promotion, thinking, why her and not me? and made it her intention to sabotage me. She wouldn't deliver my mail or give me my phone messages, among other stunts that she pulled. It didn't take long for the other support staff. I didn't know anything about this. And finally, somebody came to me and told me what was going on. But you know what they were doing? I'd always been kind and helpful to them. So they took it upon themselves to deliver my mail and my phone calls. I had no idea that this was happening. Well, one day when all department managers were in a meeting with the president, during a lull in our conversation, my administrative assistant, whose desk was right outside the conference room, took a call on my line and proceeded to make derogatory comments about me to the party on the phone, all of which were heard by the incredulous president. He looked at me and asked me how long this had been going on, and I shrugged and said, a while. You know what? When the meeting ended, she was called into his office and she was fired.
Do you feel bad about it? Like, she being fired because your, your boss hear the conversation?
Nope. I never said a word to anybody about what she did. I just put it in God's hands. And I just said, dear God, it's such a shame that she chooses to put her energy into getting even instead of making herself a better worker to get promoted. Didn't
Right.
bother me in the least.
Maybe it was an experience that she needed to have in order for her to grow too. All right, I got it.
Now, how many other universal laws can you see here? Right? You see cause and effect, negative vibration, responsibility for her action. So you see how all these universal laws work together?
Yeah,
Beginning they work together?
yeah, and I invite for people that are looking at this video to look at the other videos, because we have been talking about the law of cause and effect, the law of negative vibration, positive vibration as well, responsibility for I mean, it helps when you have the theory of this, right?
Yeah.
So what I like about these laws is that there is no judgment in the law.
Never.
So it's not like religion. Okay, don't, if you have done this, you're going to hell. It doesn't work like that.
That's right.
I think the law, and this is why I like the universal laws, is because basically, if you do something that was not in accordance to the law, you are going to have a repercussion, right?
Yeah.
And then it will be something that you need to amend, not because you're going to hell, it's because it's not workable. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So the point of morality is not here. It's like, this is more like a guideline to make life to work for you.
Yes.
Is
And if
that correct?
people understood that, Raul, I cannot tell you how many times I have talked to people who have one bad thing happen to them. I mean, everybody has issues. We all have issues. Bad things happen to all of us, but we call those challenges. And yet, I always remember when Jesus was on the cross, what did he say? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Instead of saying, I'm going to get even with you. How could you do this to me? I didn't do anything to deserve this. You're going to pay for what you're doing to me. What did Jesus say? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because he had a clear understanding of human nature. And we see this all the time. And so many times, I just wrote an article for the publication Pathos. I write weekly articles for that publication. And it was on the power of love. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. Even Albert Einstein said that. If people could understand that and forgive not only themselves, but the other people. And when somebody is unwilling to forgive you, it is because on some level they thought they deserved whatever you did to them. I get a lot of that in my coaching.
Can you repeat the last statement just to make
If
sure that?
somebody is unable to forgive an action, let's say I'll never forgive my dad because he abused me. Well, probably her dad was abused himself. But on some level, you can read Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. She was sexually abused by her uncle. She ended up getting cervical cancer. That is cancer of the sexual organs because on some level, she believed that it was her fault. So when somebody says, I will never forgive that, it's because they believe on some level, I really deserve to be treated that way. And until they can stop and realize that it was never about them, the other person is the one with the problem. But if they hold on to unforgiveness, it damages them, like Louise Hay getting cervical cancer.
Right. That's powerful, and I can see that situation getting us or everybody involved, because at some point, even we have been abused
Yeah,
or we had abused other people.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Uh,
And we have all experienced it. And I think the toughest lesson, you got to remember, Earth is not for sissies. I say that many, many times. Earth is the most beautiful planet in the universe, but it is also the planet of challenges. And souls come here when they are serious about soul growth. From what I've read, one lifetime here is the equivalent of 10 lifetimes on another planet. So this is a tough planet. But the most difficult lesson for all of us to learn is forgiveness, to mostly forgive ourselves. That's the hard part.
yeah, you just said. I think
And we'll
that's
be
totally
talking about
true.
near death experiences. When we talk about those, you're going to find a lot of people who have those talk about that.
Yeah. So let's keep that. At the end, we are gonna maybe provide some
Yes.
good news.
Hmm.
Let's finish with this interesting law that like let's keep going.
Just one more. So instead of making it her intention to improve her job performance, so she would be considered for promotion, she chose to make it her intention to bring me down. And her negative actions backfired on her.
Yeah. By the way, she was cute.
Mhm. I was really sorry, that she chose to behave like that. I earned that promotion. She was not a very good worker, but instead of trying to improve it, she was just going to say, "You stole that job from me," and she was going to try and sabotage me.
Right. Right. Well, we had finished the law of intention, and so we have two more laws, right?
Oh, I left the last two for the best. Those are going to be wonderful.
All right. Let's keep it as a secret, but
Yeah.
also, uh, I think we sort of were discussing about the to this maybe to elaborate in near death and experiences and how this may help us in understanding our reality
Hmm.
and how it compares with the real reality. But
Yeah.
this is like a very interesting topic that I think it will be of great interest for people that wants to grow in this spiritual path. One of the things that I uh, want to acknowledge you, Kat, is because in the years that we have been working together and also developing our friendship, there was never judgment. there was, it's like we were looking at what works and what doesn't work, right? We never say, "Oh, you're going to hell," you're gonna be never. But it was more like what I can do to be the best version of myself, or what changes I need to tweak so that I can develop my full potential as a human being.
Mhm.
How I can avoid to feeling alone, even with I am with friends, right? It's the being alone is different to be in solitude, because in solitude you enjoy being alone,
Right.
but when you feel alone and miserable, it's because you don't want to be with yourself. You're afraid, versus the other is enjoy your solitude, being just with you and enjoying you. So,
I know.
so
And Raoul, I have talked to so many people who lament the fact that they're lonely. And I guess I could commiserate with them, but I've just started asking him the question, well, what are you going to do about it? What do you mean? There's nothing I can do about it. And my mother, the answer was when she had 4 teenagers. I don't know how she did it with all of us, and living our angst and our unhappiness. When you're a teenager, you're never happy. Everything is wrong. You hate yourself. Nobody likes me. I have no friends. My mother made us go out and do volunteer work. And all of a sudden, we're not lonely anymore. Because when you go out to do volunteer work, you're giving of yourself to help somebody. You're not thinking about, I wonder if I look okay. Is there lipstick on my teeth? Oh no, no, oh no, what? They're not going to like me. What am I going to say? You are so self-absorbed that it's all about you. So then you don't realize you're pushing people away because you're scared if they know the real you, they won't like you anyway. I actually had a girlfriend say this to me. She's an older woman. She said, I've had it with dating. I'm never going to date anybody again. I said, what happened? And she said, well, he was a really nice guy. But what happened was she was so concerned with him finding the real her. What if he finds out that I'm not perfect? That she was holding all of this in until she just exploded and cussed this man out for being nice to her. And she said, now all I feel is just relief. And I said, that is no way to have a relationship. The best way is to go out and do something as a volunteer, whether it's working at the animal shelter or with babies or with the elderly or something that means something to you that helps other people. Because when you give of yourself, you learn to love yourself. My mother knew that. She was a genius. And I cannot thank her enough for helping me realize that. And I always tell people, you want a loving relationship? Go do volunteer work. Get your mind off of meeting somebody. Just go volunteer your time. Every one of them has met the love of their life when they were doing volunteer work. Never fails.
I love that. You just gave me some ideas for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a perfect time for doing some volunteering.
Yeah. Well, my mother also at Christmas time, we had very little, but each of us kids took our toys. We all had to take at least one toy and donate it at our church. And my mother said, you have no idea how many other kids are not having Christmas. And we can afford to be generous, can't we?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you have to give when you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's easy to give a gift to someone when you have a lot.
Yeah.
But when you don't have and you give that gift, that really means a lot.
Well, I hate to admit this, Raul, but I still love the Hallmark Channel. Every year from October to the end of December, they have Christmas shows, Christmas movies, and they all pretty much follow the same pattern. I don't care. I love them anyway because they always have a happy ending. And it always shows people coming together to help each other. And that's what we all need to remember. We are here to help each other. And the more we help other people, the better we feel about ourselves. It's really remarkable.
Yep.
And that's part of what you put out comes back to you. Which law is that? The law of cause and effect.
Yep.
What goes around comes around. If you give love, guess what's going to come back to you?
You receive it.
Love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. All right. We need to finish with this live. It has been awesome as always, Kathy, to get deeper into this. And yes, for the people that are listening to us, we are we have two more laws
The
to
best.
and those are the best.
Absolutely the best. I
And if
save the best
somebody
for last.
and if
Yeah.
somebody wants to be on the stage like Jason, I think he was traveling or something. We didn't hear from him, and they're more than welcome to be with us. In the screen. And I think after we finish with this law of these universal laws, then we are gonna start looking into elaborating in near-death end experiences
Mhm.
and all the concepts and topics related to that to this to that reality. And so I think that's going to be highly fascinating.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you everybody for taking the time to see this webcast. Thank you.
And remember always how much you are loved unconditionally and that you matter. Always remember that you matter.
Yes, you matter. Love you. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.